Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Sparkle English, where I teach you how to improve your level of English. In my last lesson, I talked all about pronouns. And in today's lesson, I want to talk to you about one of the most common errors with pronouns. People often confuse the difference between I and me. So in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to know the difference between I and me. And at the end of this lesson, we will have a short quiz. So let's begin. So we have to use the subject pronoun I when the person speaking is performing the action. And we use the object pronoun me when the person speaking is receiving the action. For example, I love Jacob. This is correct. I is a subject pronoun, and because I am performing the action, I am the one who loves, we have to use the subject pronoun I. Usually this comes before the verb. However, if we say Jacob loves me, this is also correct, but we use the object pronoun me, because the person speaking is receiving the action. And you can see it comes after the verb. If we say, me love Jacob, this is incorrect because we have to use the subject pronoun because the person speaking is performing the action. And Jacob loves I, this is also incorrect. We have to use the object pronoun because the person speaking is receiving the action. Now, this is not a common mistake for someone to say me love or loves I. Let me show you some examples of when it gets confusing. So look at these three sentences and tell me which is correct. Me and Jacob went to the store. Jacob and me went to the store. Jacob and I went to the store. Okay, the first one and the second one are both incorrect. This is incorrect and this is incorrect. And that's because we have to use the subject pronoun I because the person speaking is performing the action. I went to the store. And again, Jacob and I come before the verb. So we have to use the subject pronoun I. We don't use the object pronoun. In casual conversation, it's very common for someone to say, me and my mom went shopping, for example, and grammatically it is incorrect. It's okay in casual conversation. It doesn't really matter. But when you are writing professionally or formally or doing a test or exam, it is so important that you use the correct grammar. And also in English, it is correct to say Jacob and I, or my mom and I, and not I and my mom. It's just more polite to start with the other person, and it sounds more natural. So let's look at some more examples. Which is correct? The doctor waved at me. The doctor waved at I. So the second example is incorrect. We have to use the object pronoun me because I am the person speaking and I am receiving the action. The subject is the doctor. If we reversed it, you could say I waved at the doctor. But because the person speaking is receiving the action, we say the doctor waved at me. And which is correct of these two sentences? The teacher asked me to sit down. The teacher asked I to sit down. Again, the second example is incorrect. We have to use the object pronoun me because the teacher is the subject in this example and me is the object. I am the person receiving the action, not performing the action. Now here's a more difficult one. The manager gave the paperwork to Joey and I. The manager gave the paperwork to Joey and me. Which is correct? In this example, the second sentence is correct and the first one is incorrect. Joey and me are receiving the action from the manager, so we have to use the object pronoun. Again, we only use the subject pronoun I when the person speaking is performing the action, and usually that will come before the verb. So again, here we have the personal pronouns. And the reason this can be confusing is because some subject pronouns are the same as object pronouns. For example, you, and it. And this is where it gets confusing. Because going back to our example from earlier, I love Jacob is correct. Jacob loves me is correct. And here we have I as the subject pronoun and me as the object pronoun. However, we could say you love Jacob, which is correct, and Jacob loves you, which is also correct. And this is where it gets confusing because sometimes the personal pronouns are the same with you and it. So just remember to focus on using the subject pronoun when it comes usually before the verb, and we use the object pronoun when it's the person receiving the action and not performing the action. So let's look at some more examples. Aaron is walking to the park with Dave and me. Dave and I are walking to the park with Aaron. Again, you can see how this sentence can change depending on who is the subject of the sentence. So now let's do a quiz, and you have to tell me if these sentences are correct. If they're not correct, correct them. Number 1, Bob accidentally tripped me in the kitchen. Number 2, Emily and I are throwing a Halloween party this weekend. Number 3, will you walk with Bethany and I to the mall? Number 4, the rude boy was bullying my friends and me. Number 5, me and my parents are driving to Ohio to visit my brother and his family. And finally, number 6, Mr. Jones would like to get to know me better. Okay, so number 1 is correct. We have the object pronoun me. I'll just put an O for object. And it is receiving the action from Bob. Number 2 is also correct. We have Emily and I, and this is the subject pronoun I because it is performing the action. Number 3 is incorrect. Here we have Bethany and I, but Bethany and I are not the subjects of the sentence. So we have to change I to me because we are receiving the action. And again, this is coming after the verb walk and after the preposition with. Number 4 is correct. The rude boy was bullying my friends and me. Here again, we have the object pronoun me, which is receiving the action. Number 5 is incorrect. Me and my parents are driving to Ohio. Now again, in casual conversation, this would be quite typical to say me and my parents. However, it is incorrect grammatically. We don't say me and my parents. We say my parents and I. We have to use the subject pronoun I because my parents and I are performing the action. And finally, number 6, Mr. Jones would like to get to know me better. This is correct. we have the object pronoun me, which is receiving the action. Okay, so let me know in the comment section how many you got correct out of 6. And if you have any questions about the pronouns I or me, let me know in the comment section. Make sure to go to the links in the description below this video to watch more grammar lessons for beginners, and I will see you in my next lesson.